All right, Harry, today we're going to do a mini Bible study in Hebrews chapter 10, verse 26. All right, I'm just going to start by reading it. It says, if we deliberately keep on sinning after we have received the knowledge of the truth, no sacrifice for sins is left. What does this word deliberately mean? Because obviously I sin every day, right? And when I look humbly at myself, I realize I still sin every day. Does that mean there's no sacrifice left for a person like myself?
Yeah, no, I think that the reality is that we have intentional sin and we have unintentional sin. We all sin every day by errors of judgment, error of this, error of that. But if the opposite to that is where we have a sin habit that we're aware of and we're not trying to deal with. It could be anger, could be stealing, it could be porn, it could be whatever. But whatever it is, if we're not really taking it seriously and wanting to put it down, that's a very serious situation. I believe the opposite to intentional sin is a word called sanctification.
What does sanctification mean, though?
Sanctification is working towards holiness. So that the aspect is that, and the best way I can also describe that is, for example, if a person comes to faith, uh, they have all kinds of stuff that they haven't dealt with. It could be anger, it could be a whole list of anything. But after a while, they get this conviction. Well, I don't think my language is very appropriate, and so they start trying to clean up their language and even some of the slur words or whatever, whatever. So after a while, they're working on that, and then they find out that they're lying a lot. Well, lying is pretty normal in our society. But no, like I'm just not telling the truth. I'm just making
Mm.
stuff up. And then eventually and it might take 3 years to get this cleaned up as an example, or pick a topic. And then of course you go from lying to white lies or misleading statements. Well, they're not lying, but they still are, as an example. So, but if we're not dealing, so the objective is that we can't have an ongoing sin situation, and some of the things could be like it could be porn, could be this or that.
Could be something as simple as food. For me, for a little bit, there's something that I'm working on right now is just the food, right? Not eating and overindulging. And that's something that and this has been after being a Christian for a long time. You told me that 3 years ago, like you're saying, wouldn't have been a big deal to me. But now we're like, oh, okay, we pick up on these things and we try to, like, I like that word sanctify, the process of becoming holy.
Yeah, and even on the food side, if we get our weight at the right level, really simply, our body's a temple of the Holy Spirit, and we will be healthier. So healthy is mean that we can be more productive for Jesus. He gave us this body, want to get it working as well as we can, and just that alone is working towards things. And so sanctification is where we need to be. Deliberately sinning is the opposite to that. But we think, well, we got grace. Well, yeah, grace. We do need grace. I need grace every day for the things I do that aren't appropriate. But if we are intentionally, just like kids in our home, we had grace for them, but not for stuff that they did every day. We had a little other system for that. And
Mhm.
and likewise, we've got to be deliberate in dealing with our sin. And sanctification leads us to a new nature. Our new nature is that I can honestly say that God gives me the desires of my heart, but the desires are totally different than they were 10 and 20 years ago. I All the things that used to be really special to me then, they're not. For example, financially, I used to focus on that every little trick and gizmo in the book. I thought, well, that'll work and that'll work. No, I don't want to hear about it now. It's just totally not interested. That my desires have changed. I don't, I have enough. I don't want to know about it. So, but everybody's journey is a little different. But the focus is on developing a sheep nature that the Lord wants to give us. The goat nature is our human nature. The sheep nature is our new nature, and the new nature is the one we want to nourish.
All right, that's good. Verse 27. But only a fearful expectation of judgment and of raging fire that will consume the enemies of God. So if we deliberately sin, are we considered an enemy of God?
Yeah, because we have this in ourself. If Jesus lives in me by the grace of God, and we're sinning, can you imagine the discomfort that that would be for Jesus in my soul, in my mind, in my being? If he lives in me and I'm feeding that kind of garbage to me, that's not going to be all right. That sanctification process only works with his help, the sheep nature. If we're feeding the goat nature and the goat's at the trough pushing the sheep away, that's not going to be okay. That'll end poorly. Um, yeah,
Mm.
after a while, the sheep nature is gone.
All right, verse 28. Anyone who rejected the law of Moses died without mercy on the testimony of two or three witnesses. Can you explain that to us, Harry?
Yeah, the law of Moses was really clear. If anybody was persistent in their sin, they just called in the court, and that was the end of that person. The law of Moses was clear. If somebody collected sticks on the Sabbath, they were stoned to death. I mean, whoa, that seems pretty heavy, but that's what happened. So they were
Yeah,
simple.
the death penalty was if you're deliberately sinning and breaking the law, the Mosaic law, like you're in trouble.
Yeah.
And verse 29. How much more severely do you think someone deserves to be punished who has trampled the Son of God underfoot, who has treated as an unholy thing the blood of the covenant that sanctified them, and who has insulted the Spirit of grace? Can you explain that last one here for us, Harry?
I see the word sanctified there.
Mm,
So sanctification, that's what it's about. And if we're careless about focusing on that, it's like a tree. Every alive tree puts on a ring every year. It grows and a tree that there's no such thing as a tree being alive and not putting on a ring. And if we're truly a Christian, that means we got to be every year there's got to be a new level of expectation, and that's what Jesus wants from us, and that's what we want for that, because we want to treat Jesus with the respect that he deserves in our mind, in our body, in our soul. We need him, and we got to focus on that and and give him the due rewards for the price that he paid at Calvary for us. We got to really, really take that seriously.
awesome. Thanks a lot for this, Harry. I enjoyed it.
Thank you.